My name's Marcus Reed, and I've been the unwelcome extra in the Wellington family production since the day I married Clara. Picture a clan that thinks their surname belongs on currency, a mother-in-law whose politeness could cut glass, a father-in-law who still quotes Clara's ex, Bradley, naturally, and Sophie, the older sister, born for center stage and allergic to humility. For 3 years, I smiled through dinners where Diane's compliments came with barbs. Richard compared me to Golden Boy Bradley, and Sophie turned every conversation into The Sophie Show. I helped, paid, showed up, quietly covering shortfalls when Richard's firm staggered, while being treated like the +1 who never quite made the list. Then, 2 months before Sophie's big day, capital B, capital D, a text lit up my phone while Clara and I were knee-deep in her wedding spreadsheets. Marcus, there's no place for you. The wedding is for more important people. No pretense. No capacity excuse. Just a velvet glove shove out the door. Clara read it, went pale, and fumbled for explanations she didn't believe. I didn't argue. I booked a first-class flight and a week in the Turks and Caicos with a suite, a private infinity pool, and more ocean than problems. On the morning, Sophie floated down an aisle I wasn't welcome to walk near. I clinked a mimosa at 30,000 feet and posted a window shot captioned, "Guess I didn't make the guest list. Think I'll survive." I landed to warm wind and water so blue it looked edited. The resort upgraded me to an ocean view palace. I swam. I read. I learned what silence sounds like when it isn't packed with judgment. Every so often I posted a sunlit story with a little umbrella peeking into the frame. "Overreaction tastes like paradise," I wrote, and meant it. Day 7, my phone convulsed on a marble side table. 130 missed calls. Voicemail full. Texts stacking like dominoes. I braced for work drama. It wasn't work. Clara's cousin Megan broke the news like a field reporter. The groom had confronted Sophie at the reception. Word of her personal training had surfaced, publicly. He walked. Guests fled. A champagne bottle flew. Diane fainted into the cake. The photographer packed up. The venue wanted a credit card. I took a picture of the skyline melting into the sea and posted, "Sorry I missed the excitement. Hope everyone's having a lovely time." Then the tone shifted from gossip to pleading. Diane, who usually speaks to me with curated silences, texted that, "Family needs your support." Richard called me son for the first time in 3 years and said Sophie had made a mistake with the invitation. Even Sophie messaged, "I know we've had our differences, but family sticks together. Please come home." Family now? 2 weeks earlier, I was a scheduling error. Now, I was the missing fire extinguisher. I didn't argue, defend, or explain. I extended my stay another week. The ocean finished what those texts started. I realized I'd been auditioning for a part they never intended to cast me in. I'd paid, lifted, swallowed, and smiled so they wouldn't have to change. They never would. So I did. When I finally rolled my bag back into our apartment, a thick cream envelope waited, Diane's penmanship immaculate. I dropped it, unopened, into the trash. Then I blocked the numbers that had treated my phone like a siren for a fortnight. Clara came home looking wrung out. We stood in our kitchen, 2 people who loved each other, finally facing the cost of keeping peace with people who thrive on war. "They're asking when you'll unblock them," she said. "Mom wrote you a letter." "Thrown away," I said, fishing leftover lo mein from the fridge. "They're your family. They told me exactly where I stand." Days passed. Clara tried to broker truces by proxy, Sophie's apologies through gritted teeth, an invite to a clear-the-air dinner. I said no to meetings designed to fix optics instead of behavior. She stopped pushing. The space between us felt fragile, then started to feel honest. One morning we watched the sun climb between buildings, coffee warming our fingers. She studied me like you do a skyline you've seen forever but never really looked at. "You're different," she said. Better, different, or worse? Better. Happier. Like you've remembered who you are. I had. I wasn't the consolation prize or the guy forever measured against Bradley. I was the man who stopped asking people who didn't respect him to change their minds. I'd been uninvited from a wedding. I uninvited myself from their problems. Boundaries aren't rage. They're quiet. They sound like waves. Sophie's disaster didn't become my emergency. Diane's letter didn't become my homework. Richard's sudden son didn't buy amnesia. Clara began to see the pattern she'd been born into and how my absence had made its outlines impossible to ignore. She started setting her own boundaries, first with whispers, then with sentences that didn't tremble. As for me, I kept the screenshots, the text that said I wasn't important, the boarding pass that said otherwise, not as trophies, but as reminders of the moment I chose a window seat over a place card, of the first time I ordered Joy without asking if anyone else at the table approved. If you want the tidy moral, here it is. When someone tells you there's no seat for you, stop begging for a folding chair. Book your flight. Build your life. Let the people who only recognize your value in crisis discover what it feels like when you're no longer available as their cushion. I missed a wedding. I found my self-respect. I'll take that trade every time.